it's very supportive. In America, it's like, oh, you want to come to my writing session? You want to like work on this with me? Yeah, give it a try and go ahead. And it's way more free and fluid, and people are more down for creativity in all different ways. And I feel like here it's very much like, but you just do pop and I can't, and I'm not into that, and I'm just, I don't know, I just think it's very still maybe like cliquey. Yeah, it's true. And I feel like if I was at a label, they would be like, no, these are your single tracks and these are your fillers. And I'm like, me personally, I'm like, these are all killers, no fillers.
Beautiful. Well, it's been 4 years since COVID, and this is a special COVID episode of Homebrewed. We're just going to talk about the pandemic for at least half an hour. No, the last time we spoke to Evie Irie, who joins us right now, was March 2020, the greatest month ever, where things really got really good. But 4 years later, and a lot has happened in between, we are joined again by Evie Irie. So welcome back to Homebrewed, and thank you for rejoining us outside of a pandemic era.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we've got you because after a break from music, it's a small break, and that, like, completely understandable. You're still young. You are back. You have a new track. It's called Laila. We'll get into the track, but let's talk firstly about the break. So prior to that, you were releasing regularly. I think you were over in the States doing all this kind of stuff, etc. And then you've just decided to take a step back from it all. A whirlwind it was, or it looked like, at least previously. So tell us about the little bit of time that you've had off and how it's informed what you've come back to.
Oh my God. Well, I've had the best time of my life. It's been amazing. I think I just got to do all the things that I missed out on as a teenager, and I just got to live. And I mean, not to talk about COVID because it's just such a drag, but like, I think that was just a time for all of us where we all were going through so much and we missed out on so much. So to have sort of the couple years that I had before that, which were living in LA and then living in Nashville before that, and practically working every single day, dropping out of school, just being in an adult's world. It was just like 3 consistent years of just no life with any other humans other than the people who I worked with, and like very isolated, very insulated. And I was just getting really exhausted and had no room to breathe. And I was like, you know what? I pushed through a couple more years and I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. Like my body can't take it, my soul can't take it, and I know that I need to just like be a free bird. And that's what I did. And it was great.
Because I think you were 16 when you signed your first sort of major record deal. So from that point on, like, that's super young. And then obviously you said you were playing and touring and all over in a completely different country as well, on the other side of the world, away from your family and, you know, friends. And obviously you're building connections over there. But it is a lot to sort of take in. So I'm actually happy to hear that you've been able to sort of step back and, you know, refresh your mind and sort of, I guess, have an experience that you didn't really get to have when you're younger, because I don't know a lot of people sort of get to have that, and then that's when how some things lead to people going off the rails. So I'm happy to hear that you're able to step back and, I guess, regain a bit of that time that you didn't get.
Yeah. It's so true. People, I think about that all the time because there's so many sliding door moments. And I'm like, dude, if things would have just, that trajectory would have just kept going, I don't even know like where I would have been at this point. And I don't even know if I want to know, because it was like, you know, it's like, I think in life that you sort of, as an artist, it takes a lot to be an artist, firstly. And like the role and the job is such a major task, and it's so all-consuming that I think that if I were to be in like that situation, at that point in my life hadn't not gone through what I've gone through now and had to like have the friends that I have now and the community that I have now and the life experience and like the maturity and the passion and all these things, I think I would have been so fragile and like just ready to combust at like any moment. So I'm really grateful that like it's all worked out how it has. And it's all brought me back to music, obviously, because when you love something, you can't deny it. which is crazy because like doing music is fucking wild, but we're here, yeah, so I appreciate that.
And you're here with a beautiful new track. It's called Laila, and it's not released at time of recording, but at time that people will be listening to this, it definitely is released. So let's talk about that track. It's, I suppose, particularly given some of the tracks that we heard from you kind of pre-sabbatical, it's far more acoustic. It's really vibrant. It's beautiful. So tell us a little bit about this track Laila and why you chose it to kind of mark your return with.
Well, a big part of me coming back to music is because I've really found my love for it again. Not that I ever really like lost it in a crazy way, but I definitely felt disconnected from it at times, especially when maybe music felt like more of a job and like a little bit, how can I say this the right way? I feel like it felt a little bit draining and not about music at all at the end of the day. And it was so important for me that when I came back to music and came back to releasing, I was going to be releasing something that like went back to my roots. And I'm a singer-songwriter at heart. That's where I started. And so I'm like, this is just the most, also do want to add on top of that like a big part of now my artistry is like being as authentic as I possibly can be and just like writing things that feel like that are like my diary, because at the end of the day, like I'm my own muse, so I have to be as raw and authentic as possible. And I feel like I would gloss and shine things and like write things that weren't really true. And I'm like, this song not only goes back to my roots, but feels like a page out of my diary. And I wrote it for my best friend for her birthday. And you can't really get like any higher than like unconditional friendship love. And that's why I chose this song, which is feels very full circle.
So you missed the 18th birthday party, which is, you sort of touched on there, is sort of the crux of what the song is. Does she forgive you? Or is this why you've written the song, is to try and get back into the good books and the friendship books?
No, she forgives me, of course.
Was it the sort of arrangement as the reason why you couldn't attend the party?
No, it was actually COVID. That's why
okay.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't see her. So Laila is one of my friends that I always show up for no matter what. There's some people that you're like, that's a non-negotiable. She's my non-negotiable.
And she got a whole song, so that is an absolute testament to the friendship there.
I wrote a song for every single day we've been apart, but none of them articulate how fucking good you are. Oh, Laila, Laila. So I'll bake a cake for you with 18 candles, bittersweet.
In terms of stylistically, like the song, as we said, it's more acoustic, it's more to your roots as a singer-songwriter. Is that what we could expect moving forward for you, for future releases and what you may have been working on in the background that people haven't heard yet?
I would say that there's definitely different shades. I would expect, I am a pop girl at heart, so I'm not going to say that everything's going to be acoustic like this, but a big intention that I've been trying to do is bring more rawness and realness to my big pop sound. So expect still to hear big songs and like some up-tempo stuff, some a little bit experimental stuff, slightly, still pop, don't worry, still pop, but with more of an organic sound.
And is part of this mantra that you're putting forward now about being more authentic and, you know, trying to express yourself a little bit more, is part of this also maybe tied into, and I guess only speak to what you're able to or what you're comfortable speaking to, but from our perspective, it looks like you have, from when we, at least when we last spoke to you, it's a different management team, different PR team, like a different team of people behind you supporting this release. Was any of that sort of helping with your authenticity? Like you felt like the people you have now might be a better match to help push that out or something like that, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, my first set of management that I had were like the toppest dogs of Hollywood. So you had Troy Carter, you had Republic Records. These are like the big, you know, these are like the biggest, some of the biggest people. And I think that it just came with a lot of pressure as well. I love, by the way, I hope everyone knows there's no bad blood at all. Like, all these people are family, and at the end of the day, like, I'm sure if I were to want to work with everyone again, or if the opportunity came around, we're still a family and we'd be like, okay, let's get back on the board and let's keep doing it. But like, I just step back because I'm like, I need time for myself, and I need to just like not feel this external pressure that I've like created this narrative in my head that it means that I have to be a certain thing, or that the result has to be bigger than like where the career really is at. That's why I was like, let me just really tone it down, especially coming back. I'm like, I don't really need like anything massive right now. Like, all I need to do is make the best music I can make and connect with fans. Like, why do I need a big label or a big manager to be doing that when it just comes down to me putting in the work and like putting myself out there?
Yeah, I suppose you've almost transitioned from sprint to marathon mode with your career, because you were so young, and then it's high energy, pushing, and then it's pull back now. Okay, we can look ahead. In terms of connecting with fans, how have you found that relationship with fans over the time away, and how excited are you to be able to bring them new music?
I'm so excited. I'm unbelievably excited. I don't think I've ever felt this way about releasing music before. It's always like the most daunting feeling, but also I feel like I'm starting all over again. I feel like I'm a new artist all over again, and like I don't expect that anyone who listened to me beforehand is like interested in me still after taking this break. So I sort of feel like I have a chance to just, how many people are there in the world? 7 billion people in the world.
I think we're like 8 billion now, to be honest. Actually, I've got a computer in front of me.
Like, there's so many people that can possibly listen to this music. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like the opportunity is so endless. And I hope people who listen to my old stuff are like, oh, I think this is great. I want to keep listening to it. But like, I'm excited for all the new people to come on board and like discover me, because I think it's just going to be, it's just so fun.
Well, if it helps, we are two people who enjoy the old stuff and enjoy what we've heard so far as well. So you'll have at least two people following through. I'm sure there'll be many more. But you have, I don't know whether it was you or whether it was in the press release or where it's come from, but I've seen this next release being released as part of Evie 2.0, as in it's, you know, you're reinventing yourself. And I guess what you've just touched on there is no pressure. It's feeling like a fresh approach. It's not a new project, but I guess in some essence to you, it does feel that way.
Oh, it totally does. It feels way more holistic and rooted in the right reasons, you know? Not that I ever did anything for any malicious intent ever, because what the hell, I was a 16-year-old girl, but like, I think that just the expectation is just way more realistic now, which is nice, because, you know, there's something nice about the journey, because when you're on the journey, this is where it all happens. When you get to the top, you're there. What is there where do you go? You know what I mean? This is like the moment that's the most exciting for us as artists. Like, it's special, and people just want to jump the steps, and it's like, no, this is what shapes you as an artist. These moments, this time where you have to grind, and like when no one knows who you are and you get no streams, and then all of a sudden you appreciate like the small things that happen to you. So, you know, it's just that I feel like that's why it's a 2.0, because it's not like bigger and better music, although I do think it's better personally, but it's more just like, it's more an energy it feels different.
Yeah, and how in, like, obviously it was intentional to take the break, but you've clearly done a lot of reflecting and work and wanting to position yourself in the right way for this return. How much of that break was doing that, or is it kind of been you had the time away, you did what you did in that time and got to do the things you wanted to do, and then you've come back and all of a sudden you've gained this new perspective? Or along those 2 years were you going, no, I kind of want it to be like this, I want it to be like this, and changing your perspective and your expectations of yourself and preparing for this moment?
I love that question. I wouldn't say I was keeping like a book of like, this is what I'm going to do when I'm back. But I was living in the States during my sabbatical. And a lot of my friends that ended up making are all artists and like are all on the journey or like at different stages. Like a lot of them are way ahead of me. Some of them are at the same point of me. Like, and I think I definitely saw what all my friends were doing and was able to sort of find like, okay, I see how you do that and I want to do it similar to you, or like I want to do it a little bit differently. So I think in terms of like approaching it all, that was like on my mind, but there was never a moment of me taking a break or a day. I will say that I was like not thinking about music. Every single day I was like, when am I going to be back? When am I going to be making music again? When am I going to be releasing? When am I going to be playing? Like it never didn't cross my mind.
And when did you make the decision to make the move back to Australia from America, or are you only here part-time like you were prior to COVID, or are you back here full-time? And I guess what was the motivating factor behind making the move?
Well, it sort of got to a point on my trip, on my break, where I was like, okay, so I've actually done everything that I want to do, and I started to get sick of it. Like people would call me up and be like, come to the Hamptons with me, come to New York, let's go skiing in Aspen, let's hike Mount Everest. And like, I know sounds so spoiled, but it's like, how many, like you do it so many times and you're like, okay, so I'm actually a little sick of this. And also I think my liver was like, girl, you need to slow down, because there was lots of partying. On my 21st birthday, actually, I was living in LA, and on my 21st birthday, when I actually was finally legal to go out and celebrate, I threw a party in my friend's backyard and like had a big celebration with a mechanical bull and caricature people and like just a crazy, stupid, like alien and cowgirl infusion party. It was so wild. And that night I realized, okay, this is my last hurrah. Like I know that this was like me closing this chapter. I'm 21. I've lived in LA all underage. Like it doesn't feel right to be doing this anymore now that I'm actually legal to do it.
Boring
and
now.
And then at that point I got a storage unit the next day, ended my lease, and I came back straight home to Australia.
One question I need to ask. Before you left America, did you find Danny DeVito?
No, I didn't.
Surely the word would have gotten around to him that there was this song written about him, and you know there's this artist on the hunt to find him.
I know. I honestly can't believe. By the way, the hunt is never going to stop.
Okay, that's good.
Like if I meet Danny DeVito, I promise you I'm going to be like, dude, I have to tell you, I wrote a song about you. But you know what? That actually was when I released Danny DeVito. I feel like that I would call that time still my like break off music. Like I wouldn't call Danny DeVito my era of like making music. I was sort of just like. It was more just like, oh, let me just like release it for fun because I really just had like the itch. And I'm like, I wonder how this is going to feel. And it was more just like out of curiosity. And then I was like, okay, now let me reassess and like really find what I want to be doing and like why I want to be doing this.
Yeah, because it's a very different, it's a shorter song. As you said, it's a fun song. And yeah, it is that. It's fun. It's no real heartfelt lesson learned like 5 Weeks LA, which was your EP prior. And obviously it's very different to the music that you've, as people listening to this, just, recently released as well. So it makes sense that you're not counting that as part of your little sabbatical.
Yeah, Laila's definitely very different than Danny DeVito.
And in terms of, I mean, you mentioned the fans before and wanting to connect with them. Do you have live shows in the works? Are there going to be ways where people can come out and see this music live?
Yes, I'm planning things right now. It's in the works. Nothing that I can announce yet, but don't worry, the pot is being stirred as we speak.
The butter is being churned.
Yeah.
And how about future releases? I mean, we've looked back, we've explored that 2 years. Now, if we look forward, we're about to end this year, 2025. I imagine there'd be more releases forecast. But are you working towards a specific goal in terms of a project or a body of work, or are you going to be dropping singles that you love and you like and focusing on the touring for now?
Well, I feel like in my mind, they all sort of live in the same world in terms of like life and motivation behind all the songs. And like, I feel like they all tell a story, but I'm not necessarily packaging it as a project right now. I'm just releasing it as singles. But like, I might change my mind and be like, no, this is going to be an EP, or I'm going to turn this into an album. But for right now, it's just going to be singles, just so I can at least give like every song the love that I feel like it deserves. Because when you release an EP or an album, there's some songs that don't get the love, and I feel that's sad. I put in so much. Every single song that I'm releasing feels like a single to me and has been worked like and massaged like so much that I can't imagine just being like, I'm going to put in a project and like if people find it, they find it. It would just, I don't know if I could do that.
It is interesting though, because I was recently having another re-listen of Middle Kids Faith Crisis Part 1, and there are songs on that album that work perfectly as an album track, but if they were released as a single, it would have never made it. It probably wouldn't have been picked up by any radio or playlisting or anything like that. So there is a reason why artists like yourselves would say, I see this song as a single, as opposed to this would work nicely in this bigger body of work.
Yeah, it's true. And I feel like if I was at a label, they would be like, no, these are your single tracks and these are your fillers. And I'm like, me personally, I'm like, these are all killers, no fillers. So this is what I love about it as well. Like, I really can do whatever I want. It's so liberating.
Yeah, and so just to confirm, you are so the track Laila was released via the Melbourne label Class Action Records, but you yourself, are you operating independently more or less as your artist and as your project?
Yeah, my Class Action Records is the best record label because they care as much, if not, I actually want to say more about my project than me, if that's even somehow possible. And they really just like, they support me in every way that I need support, and they really understand artist development more than any record label possibly has, and I just still am able to like be exactly who I want to be, and they don't try to like shun any part of me. They're like, you do you, and you go through exactly what you want to do, and they also like support me at the same time. So it's like, it's great, it's amazing.
And it's awesome that you do have that support of someone willing to be like, you be authentic, and we're going to support you all the way, as opposed to, and I'm not saying you had a bad experience. You said you're on great terms with your previous management and labels and your whole team that you worked with over in America as well, but you said there were those pressures there. So obviously that would impact your artistry in one way or another. So to have that, I guess, that pressure lifted currently, operating more or less independently, that would be, you mentioned the word liberating, and that's exactly what it would be.
Yeah, it's just exciting because there's no limits. And like, even though I have this record label, there's just being at a major record label there's so many like I's and T's that need to be dotted and crossed. And like, if I would have released Danny DeVito under Republic Records, I would not have been able to, because they would have been like, well, we can't have Danny DeVito in the thing because there's copyright issues and there's this, and like it just puts a lot of limitations that you don't even like recognize or realize, and it sort of like puts you in a box sometimes. You're like, all I want to do is put Danny DeVito on a shirt, and you're telling me I can't do that?
Stifles your creativity a little bit. And by the way, that is a killer, not a filler as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's a fun song. It's definitely not like, it's not groundbreaking. It's not
super thought-provoking or going to change the world, but it is just a very fun song to listen to.
Yeah, it's fun. We need some of those.
We do. We need them. I'm also curious. So you had a lot of time in LA. You've also, like, I saw you supporting Bastille in Sydney, I think in 2019. So you've also had experience playing and performing in Australia. What are some of the, like, can we learn anything from the American music scene or American music culture? And, you know, can we take anything to try and benefit what's happening over here?
I would say, if anything, there's maybe a lack of, at least I found, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I feel like there's a lack of community here in the pop world. And in the pop world in America, we all know each other. And it's very, like, it's very supportive. And I feel like here it's sort of, like, I think it's like, you know who you know, and that's about it. And, like, you know, I have my friends, I don't need any more. And I think in America, it's like, oh, you want to come to my writing session? You want to, like, work on this with me? Yeah, give it a try and go ahead. And it's way more free and fluid, and people are more down for creativity in all different ways. And I feel like here it's very much like, but you just do pop, and I can't, and I'm not into that. And I'm just, you know, I don't know. I just think it's very, still maybe like cliquey.
And is it a competitive thing, do you think? Like, because it feels like opportunities are more limited over here than what it might be in America, that might be why they say, oh, no, Evie's doing really well. She's doing things that I would like to be doing. So there's that competitiveness and jealousy that sort of doesn't allow for that community to be built.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm not even doing anything that anyone would be like, I want to be doing what she's doing. But I actually think that it's like, it's so small. Like, there's only a few people making pop music. And I actually will say, like, most of the girls that I've met in pop music here are all lovely and great.
You're friends with Sammy Constantine, right?
Yeah, she's amazing. She's incredible. And I wrote Laila with her as well.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
She's a very good friend of the show.
She's amazing. She just had a baby too, you know. Is that cute?
She did.
I love that.
Whoa.
I love that.
Eamon's phone is blown away by that.
I know. I don't know though. I think that it's so small that it's almost like there's not a lot of, like, I don't know if anyone knows how, like, what they're really doing. So I think that it's like I'm going to stick to myself because I'm not really sure what's happening, and we're just in different camps, and so like we're not going to share our shit. But in LA, it's very much like, what are you doing? What's working? Let's do this together. Let's do that. Oh no, that's way too cringe. Or like, let's lean into the cringe and I don't know. I just think it's way more collaborative, and like we don't have that here as much right now.
More cross-genre collaboration, it kind of sounds like as well. I mean, maybe but across genres or across sounds or across scenes, we could do a better job at collaborating there. Do you see yourself making a return overseas, or are you looking to throw down roots in Australia and push a project predominantly in Australia?
I love being here. Like, I really do. There's no better place on earth. Genuinely. Like, I could live here for the rest of my life and be happy. Actually, I could live on the beach for the rest of my life and just lay there and tan and be the most happy girl in the world. So I want to, like, if it was up to me, I would be here forever and never, ever, ever leave. But at the same time, I know that, like, there's just not a lot of opportunity for, like, touring and playing here, and I'm probably going to end up having to go back over to the States or London, or like maybe I'll go back to LA, maybe I'll go to New York and try that out. But like for right now, I'm here as long as I can be until I need to move again.
Yeah, it's sad that there aren't those, I guess, you are so limited here. Partly, population and just the lack of opportunity that artists have here, that to grow to, I guess, the potential where you talk about at the beginning, where you were on this trajectory to go somewhere. If you do end up eventually going there, having, obviously a lot more life experience and learning more lessons along the way, you almost, I guess, would have to move off our shores to try and reach that potential.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. I mean, I'm very flexible as a person, so I enjoy living in different places, and I think it's fun. And there's so many people to meet and so many things to do, and and culture is just so different every place you live. You know what? I went to Melbourne the other week, and I have never been to, I have been to Melbourne a couple of times before, but I've never properly like been there and been like a little bit immersed in everything. I've just been there and like passing, where it's like, okay, I'm in Melbourne, but I could really be anywhere in the world because it doesn't make a difference. But guys, I loved Melbourne.
Yeah.
Have you been?
Yeah,
I've been to Melbourne before, and it's the exact same thing. We talk a bit of smack about Melbourne, but that's just because we're jealous of their music culture, because it is a terrific place.
It's crazy. I'm okay. I might actually move to Melbourne. Like, I actually might, because it's so cool. And they just know. I feel like they really know what they're doing over there. Maybe Sydney's too spread out. Maybe that's the issue.
Yeah, possibly.
My long-standing theory about Sydney is that it's too beautiful for culture to develop properly, because people are always out enjoying the nature, which is, a double-edged sword.
I think so. It is a double-edged sword. But like, that's what Sydney is. That's why we love it. We love it for the beaches. We love it for the Central Coast. We love it for nature. It's amazing. I'm excited about wherever I end up. If I end up staying here, if I end up going anywhere, I think it's just going to be what it's going to be, and it's going to be amazing.
Well, we hope that you're here as long as possible, because we'd love to claim a coastie for as long as we can. So the longer you're on our shores, the more.
You're always a coastie, though.
Absolutely, that's very true. But we do wish you every success for. Laila, it's out as you listen to this, but not yet. So hopefully the single release goes well for you with Laila. All the music to follow, the touring, everything. Sincerely wishing you all of the best, and I hope the move to Melbourne eventually goes well as well.
Stop. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love chatting with you guys. Thank you.
Fast facts about this episode. It was produced by the one and only magical man Cameron Smith. It featured that artist or music personality that you just heard speak for a while. It was recorded on Darkinjung Land. And for more from us, head to www.homebrewed.au. Bye.